shut the hell up. Hello, I'm Janae. If this is your first time here, welcome to my channel where we think deeply and look good while doing it. I don't know how you guys have been feeling, but honestly, the world has just been chaotic. Politically, there is always a new headline that constantly derails my train of thought and makes me feel like the world is ending. Globally, there are so many different natural disasters and humanitarian concerns that are really disheartening and distracting. And then when you pile that on top of the billionaires living their best lives, or this influencer or other content creator or model or singer that you love that's living your dream life, and it just crowds your space, because then you start looking at what they're doing and try to be them, and then you're looking at the state of the world, and then you're well, why does it even matter if the world is ending? Lately, I found myself needing that silence, and so now that I have been embracing the silence, one, I just feel way more grounded in who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm giving to the world, and two, I've just been able to focus more clearly. Embracing silence has really allowed me to be more creative and more productive overall. Honestly, once you give yourself some parameters and you shut out the noise, it's so easy to play within your space so that you're not stepping in everyone else's. So today I'm gonna share how I've turned silence into my secret weapon. And I also have a few tips that you can follow so you can start incorporating it into your everyday life too. My number one tip for embracing silence in your life is to establish boundaries around your time. And that starts with setting specific time limits for how often or how much time you spend on your phone and on social media. My favorite app right now is the Opal app. It actually blocks apps off of your phones. You can either set it so that it blocks apps based off of a time limit. So say you only want to give yourself an hour to scroll every day. After you scroll for that hour or whatever, it'll block the apps. The other way to do it is if there are specific times that you don't want to be on social media or specific apps throughout the day, you can set the time. For me personally, I set Opal so that I'm not on social media between midnight and noon, and then I'll give myself a break, and then I think I'll go 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. or something like that. So if I want to scroll before bed, I gotta stay up late. And let me tell you, I'm a sleepy girl, I don't stay up late. So those guardrails for me personally are so important. And I'm not gonna lie to you, y'all, honesty moment, before I set those guardrails in place, my screen time was hitting 12, 13 hours. Maybe that's a full-time job that I'm not getting paid for. There's no need to be scrolling that much. You need boundaries around that, because it's addicting and it's distracting. And when you're constantly consuming, how can you create? How can you tap into what's within you when you're constantly bombarding your brain with outside noise? Take time to yourself to read and journal and explore yourself and explore creative hobbies and what you care about. And I think another really good way to establish boundaries around your time is to set those boundaries with friends and family. That means you might not be able to talk to your girls on the phone for hours because you need some time to spend with yourself. That might mean that you don't need to be partying every weekend and going to listen to loud ass music every Friday and Saturday night and getting drunk, and then you wake up the next day, your brain is foggy, you can't think straight, you can barely get out of bed. You need to set boundaries around your time so that you have the space to connect with yourself and do the things you know you care about doing. Moving on. I think it's so important that you just generally have a dedicated space where you can embrace silence and recollect and ground yourself and just find some quiet time alone. For me, that is my house. My home is my sanctuary. I feel like I can go anywhere in my home and find peace, whether that's on the couch, napping, reading, watching Sex and the City, or if it's in my bed, reading, journaling, meditating, or in the shower. I love going in the shower and just not playing any music, no YouTube video, no nothing, because it just allows me to hear the water trickling. And it honestly just feels like it's clearing my mind. It's like washing the overthinking away. It's just so beautiful and peaceful. The great thing is that my couch is right next to my bookshelf, so I do feel like I have my own little reading nook, my own little library in here where I can just find peace and reconnect with myself and read. My girl wants to say hey. Hello. Okay, goodbye. I think another part of embracing silence is to really practice mindful breathing and meditation. I think just having even a minute, 2, maybe even 5 minutes of deep breathing can allow you to reset. Meditation is equally powerful. When I wake up, it's so easy for my mind to immediately start racing about what I need to do for the day. And I intercept that by meditating, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Sometimes I'll do a guided meditation. Other times I'll just play my binaural beats or like singing bowls and I'll just meditate. Like that has been so powerful for me. And I like to do that in the morning. By the time I do it at night, I'm fall asleep. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If I try to meditate at night, it's bedtime, okay? It's just not happening. I'm always talking to someone. And I know for me especially, it's so important for me to shut the hell up, okay? When you're talking all the time, you don't get a lot of time to hear your own thoughts, especially if you're hearing like other people talking, like influencers on your phone, or it's like a YouTube video talking, a podcast, an audiobook. Like silence is golden. No talk time, no listen time, you know? And I think that is also so important, like if you need to process any difficult emotions, if you need to reflect, it's just powerful to be able to do that and reflect internally without the need to communicate with others. Sometimes where I really get the chance to do this is when I'm walking my dog twice a day. I leave my phone in the house and it's a silent walk. I listen to the birds chirping outside, I hear the cars driving by, the wind blowing in the trees, the birds chirping. Like just having that time to like be silent and not speak and not really listen to anything, just to turn my brain off and let it wander, it's just been so beautiful for me. Maybe this is a very tourist thing to say, but I find that when I have not been outside in nature in a significant amount of time, I get depressed. I get confused, I get severe mental fog, because I'm just around industrialness all day, or I'm locked inside the walls of my apartment and I don't get fresh air. It is so important to get fresh air and just be in the elements. You need to clean out your inbox. You need to clean out your messages. Like be an inbox zero girly. Unsubscribe from some emails that you don't need to be receiving. Turn the notifications off too. Like you can turn off your email notification. Nothing is that urgent that you need to be notified of it every single time it comes through. Maybe you set aside time to check your emails or your messages, but turn the notifications off. Even if it's like a matter of you having one digital detox day where the notifications are off, social media is blocked. Like just try to find silence and like declutter your digital space as much as possible. And on the topic of decluttering, I don't know about you, but I cannot find peace when my space is cluttered. Wash the dishes in the sink, clean the floors, fold and put away the laundry that's been sitting in the corner of your room all week. How can you possibly embrace silence when your space is so noisy? I know that there are some people who are maximalists. That's at least noise with intention. Maybe you thrive in that, but just straight clutter, clean it up, because a cluttered space really can lead to a cluttered mind. And then my last tip, which kind of just sums it all up, is to schedule some me time without having any guilt. I think you should always schedule regular solo activities, solo dates with yourself, so that you can fill yourself up with joy and tranquility without relying on others to fill that space up for you. And that can be reading or taking a bath or going out to a library, a bookstore, museum, just whatever you need to do to take care of yourself in your own time without sharing that with anyone else. You don't have to share it, it's just you time. You should be doing that more. Once you can like incorporate all of these tips into your daily routine, you'll have more focused thinking, a clearer vision, you'll have deeper creativity. On top of all that, your mental health will improve. You likely will cut back on some of those depressive thoughts you've been having. You won't feel as anxious as you've been feeling. And then also, when you cut out the extra noise and the people and the social media and the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you'll just have a greater sense of self and a greater sense of control over your time and your energy, because you'll be becoming more intentional with where your focus is and not just scattering it all over the place. In a world full of noise and distractions, I encourage you to find your silence, find your peace, find your sanctuary. Don't be afraid to take a step back, to slow down and to disconnect, because your best self is waiting for you on the other side of all of the chaos. Let me know in the comments if there are other things that you like to do to disconnect with the world and just find some silence and some peace and stillness with yourself. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and maybe we can do a part 2 together. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you're looking for more ways to live intentionally and look good while doing it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna go be quiet now. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.